Each of the endings to Far Harbor are ultimately bittersweet, as although there is a resolution, there is no real happy ending. The island is comprised of three main factions, consisting of the synth refugees of Arcadia, led by Dima, the residents of Far Harbor, led by Captain Avery, and the radiation-worshipping Children of Adam, ruled by High Confessor Tectis. In-game, the player character is able to back one of the three factions and destroy one or even both of the others. There is even a quest, Reformation, which does enable each faction to coexist, without requiring any of the others to be destroyed. Reformation could therefore be categorized as the good ending, as it enables the most minimal loss of life compared to the others. However, even this ending does leave a foul taste in the mouth, as the peace is only enabled through lies, murder, and deception. In this video, I will explain why I believe that eliminating the Children of Adam via nuclear detonation entails the best outcome. I do still want to clarify that it's obviously not a morally good choice. It still leaves a sour taste, but it's far more palatable than the others. If you're watching this video, you've most likely played Far Harbor previously. One thing I do wish to say is that each ending does have its own valid reasoning behind it, and you, or I, are not incorrect for choosing one over another. We each reach our own conclusions on what is best based on our own personal worldviews. I reached the conclusion that the Children of Adam need to go, based on the idea that even with the peaceful options, their extremist nature would just cause the current conflict to return. The Church of the Children of Adam is centered on the belief that each atomic mass possesses a universe within it, created by their god, Atom. New universes are able to be generated by splitting an atom, as that universe now becomes two. Nuclear fission therefore is treated with the most holy of references and referred to as division.
Atom's greatest gift. Locked inside us all are billions of invisible worlds, waiting only to be touched by his glow, in order to be born anew through division.
The cataclysmic Great War itself is viewed as a divine event that created untold universes and bathed the world in Atom's glow, known to us as radiation. Ultimately, their core tenet is that the spread of radiation is a holy act, and that all individuals are required to be irradiated in order to become one with Atom. The children themselves are an austere and distrustful people. They view outsiders, and even their own members, with suspicion. Your first introduction to them even involves two members being forced to fight to the death in order to prove their devotion to Atom. Now, Captain Avery and Dima do state that the children only descended into fanaticism under High Confessor Tectis' rule, claiming that they were far more peaceful under their previous leader, Confessor Martin. However, fanaticism does seem to be a common element for the religion. All Children of Adam groups found in the Commonwealth, bar one, are openly hostile to everyone. They've even been found to feed innocent wastelanders to glowing ones. If the Children of Adam on Far Harbor were ever peaceful, I would state that this had been the exception, rather than the norm. At the start of the story, the children are locked in direct opposition to the people of Far Harbor. They believe that stewardship of the island is preordained by their god, due to the radioactive fog that is unique to the location, describing Far Harbor as a den of iniquity, a bastion of heresy, a seething cauldron of desecration. They believe that the presence of the Farharbans, is an affront. What had started as obnoxious proselytizing has escalated to near full-scale war. Now yes, the Farharbans had also instigated this when Alan Lee gunned down a missionary who came to preach to them. I don't deny this was a wrong thing to do, but the words the preacher delivered to the town were deliberately inflammatory. He screamed to the people that it was Adam's will that they had lost their beloved family, friends, and homes, and soon they would be wiped off the island. I'm not saying he deserved to be shot, but if you do go to your rival's town and state that you can't wait for them to die, you should also be prepared for consequences. My main point is that the Children of Adam need to be eliminated for long-term peace on the island, due to coexistence just simply being incompatible with their religion. In regards to that missionary, the fellow worshippers state that he was only practicing his faith. They completely disregard the fact that the faith he was preaching had called for the death and removal of the Farharbans, and it wasn't just the violently militant High Confessor Tectis who demanded this. Even his predecessor, Confessor Martin, who, from the sounds of it, was honestly quite a sweet, peacemaking person, did not want the Farharbans to remain on the island.
This place is trying to kill them, and now spur at my throat because of the mess you created by allowing them to stay. You know as well as I, they're not meant for this place. The fog grows thicker every year. How long before the condensers are finally overwhelmed? It's not banishment, Dima. It's mercy. I think it's time you and I convinced the citizens of Far Harbor to leave.
Now, as there are some objectively decent people within the Children of Adam, I don't believe they should be simply decimated. I don't believe that they should suffer, and I don't believe they should die with fear. What I find to be the kindest option, therefore, is to encourage Tectus to detonate the nuclear submarine within their base. And yes, that sentence in itself sounds incredibly strange, and it's dangerous to be judge, jury, and executioner for an entire faction. However, for them, they aren't just dying in a nuclear blast. For the Children of Adam, they are fulfilling the fundamental tenet of their religion, experiencing instant rebirth as incalculable new worlds, becoming one with their God and bringing forth new life. If you speak to their members during the 30-second launch, all that they express is excitement for the upcoming rapture.
Radiant Adam, claim your servant. I am ready. Holy Adam, I am ready.
I will finally feel his glow.
Lockdown in 5, 4,
After
1.
all this time,
Lockdown
I'm
complete.
ready.
Commencing launch.
After all this time.
Everything comes to pass eventually, and if the Children of Adam pass euphoric, surrounded by family and friends, well, there are worse ways to go. Before you think I'm a twisted person, I do again want to clarify this is not a morally good choice. None of the options are. I'm also self-aware enough to realize that by calling for their destruction, I am ultimately no better than they are. They use religion as the excuse, whereas I would use pragmatism. I do stand by this belief though, that their removal enables the longest lasting harmony on the island. As while the Children of Adam can be persuaded to seek peace, as seen in Reformation, they wouldn't give up their militant zealotry forever. Reformation is the quest mentioned previously that allows nominal peace between the three factions. As a background, Dima had previously murdered and replaced Captain Avery with a synth to ensure peaceful relations between Far Harbor and the Children of Adam. Drawing inspiration from this, he strives to do the same with High Confessor Tectus. If this option is pursued, then Tectus is removed and a synth copy secretly takes his place. One who announces that a vision from Adam decreed that peace with Far Harbor is required. Far Harbor accepts this news, Arcadia remains neutral, and everyone lives happily ever after, except for the fact that they probably won't. My reasoning for this is twofold, with one centering on the peace being entirely dependent on the synth copies, and the other being that the Children of Adam's nature would not maintain peace regardless. Now, neither the Avery or the Tectus synth know that they are not the original. The original Captain Avery was less moderate against the Children of Adam, and therefore was replaced by Dima to ensure peace on the island. An absolutely callous, evil act that so consumed Dima with guilt, he removed it from his memory. And yet he did it again with Tectus. Morally, it's kinda hard to care that Tectus dies. I do care that an innocent woman was murdered, and most damningly, two synths have had their identity annihilated in order to replace them. It may take an entire other video to discuss what I believe should be done about Dima due to his manipulation. My main issue with this plan is not necessarily based on its morality though. My main issue is just how short-sighted it really is. While Tectus's exact age is unknown, his appearance suggests that he may be in his 50s. As it is doubtful that he would have the same life expectancy standards as pre-war, I would imagine he would have naturally passed in his 70s, maybe 80s at most, except for the fact that the synth won't. Synths don't age, they don't gain weight, and they don't become physically frail over time. The synth would look exactly the same in 10 or 20 years as it did the day it was created. The synth Tectus won't know the reason for his longevity, but maybe he'd promote some fable of Adam's blessing being the source. However, the Children of Adam are nothing but suspicious, and this would definitely seem suspicious. Generic dialogue between the children post-Reformation shows they've already noticed something different about the Confessor.
Has the High Confessor seemed strange to you? Perhaps he's taken ill?
Even if the synth Tectus maintains peace during its life, it stands to reason that it will one day die. Either he'd be killed by the island's vicious wildlife, or by suspicious children when they notice he looks exactly the same as he did 50 years ago, or by Dima, who'll be forced to make it look like he passed away at a normal old age. Dima would either have to hope that a legitimate, peace-loving leader is voted instead, this is doubtful since Grand Zealot Richter is the second in command, or go through the whole synth replacement process again. Ultimately, once Tectus is gone, the Children of Adam would revert back to square one. The Children of Adam's violent nature has already been covered to an extent, but in-game evidence post-Reformation gives further weighting for their tendency to shift back to zealotry. Even with the Tectus synth threatening them with Atom's reprisal if they go against the peace, the Children of Adam don't desire peace with Far Harbor.
The High Confessor's vision. It doesn't make sense. Peace? Why would Adam want peace?
Can't imagine what kind of revelation it was to turn the High Confessor off wiping out Far Harbor.
What has Far Harbor done to merit Adam's mercy? Plenty of arms, if you're thinking of taking care of matters yourself.
Past evidence even shows that the High Confessor's words are not final. While Confessor Martin called for peace, Tectus called for blood. Martin's message of unity was interpreted as weakness, and suspicion grew on his allegiance to Adam. After Martin fled, partly due to Tectus's warmongering, Tectus immediately filled the void with his message of hate. It stands to reason, therefore, that the same thing could happen to the Tectus synth. Maybe Grand Zealot Richter begins to distrust Tectus and usurps his position, due to inaction over the inevitable conflicts the children will face with Arcadia and Far Harbor. These conflicts would stem from multiple issues that still wouldn't actually be resolved post-Reformation. For one, the children hate the fact that Arcadia provides fog condensers to Far Harbor, seeing this as an affront. The fog still persists, and the fog condensers are still used, meaning this would remain a point of contention. The Far Harbans are also striving to reclaim their homesteads across the island, the very island that the Children of Adam considered their holy land. One child of Adam rationalizes the peace by stating that,
"What does Adam need with one little dock anyway? Let Far Harbor have it."
but the Far Harbans eventually would leave the dock and repopulate the island, and new conflicts would therefore arise. Most damningly, the fog is a natural phenomenon. Old Longfellow states that it comes and goes over time. One day the fog will eventually recede, and the children will believe that they have angered Adam. I imagine in their zealous haze, they would go on a warpath, seeking to destroy every unbeliever that they could locate in order to prove their devotion. I admit that a lot of this is speculative. I'm open to being wrong. I would love for Reformation to be the best utilitarian option that allows the greatest number of people to survive. I'd even go so far again to state that despite their beliefs, there are objectively good people within the Children of Adam. And yet the religion feeds on zealotry. It decrees that they are acting in God's plan and everyone else is the other. Combined with the dangerous fact that it is centered on the belief that human beings need to die, willingly or unwillingly by radiation, that's just an inevitable recipe for disaster. A recipe that leaves a horrific taste in the mouth. And while blowing up the nucleus and sending the children on a first-class trip to their God is also hard to swallow, the taste is less bitter. Or maybe it's just all the radiation burned off my taste buds.